The average American visits about 7 different websites before booking a hotel. I totally get that. We want to make sure that we get a great hotel for the best price. But why only 7 when there are so many more out there? Next time, before you book, check on Trivago. Trivago compares live prices from more than 150 different websites to make sure that you find the best price for your ideal hotel. Hotel Trivago.
Is local law enforcement taking a page from the NSA? Tonight we're learning more about a device shrouded in secrecy that's being deployed by law enforcement to sometimes track and catch the worst of the worst: killers, kidnappers, rapists, and more. But critics say the stingray may also allow police to make an end run around the Constitution. It's a digital search and seizure inside your home, sometimes without a warrant. This is the device so secret, law enforcement agencies are required to sign a non-disclosure agreement before they can buy or use it.
Local law enforcement can do things now that we used to relegate to the realm of spies and espionage.
The stingray and other similar models trick a suspect's cell phone into connecting to it by masquerading as a cell phone tower, one your phone thinks belongs to a phone company like Verizon or AT&T.
Just as we visually scan the area, we electronically scan the area.
But the stingray scoops up personal cell phone information from more than just the target's phone. Stingrays collect data from hundreds, thousands, even tens of thousands of innocent bystanders all at the same time.
It's not just one phone that responds, it's any phone within the area. So police are unquestionably collecting the information, location information on innocent Americans.
Stingrays are suitcase-sized and portable, sometimes fired up from inside an undercover SUV and sometimes from a plane. The U.S. Marshals Service flies so-called stingrays on a plane out of 5 key locations across the nation, including Whiteman Airport, north of L.A.
We cast a wide net.
The LAPD's Major Crimes Unit has been using this type of technology since at least 2006 and credits it with solving homicides, kidnappings, and terrorist threats. Records obtained by Eyewitness News from the LA County Sheriff's Department show stingrays were used a total of 66 times over a 7-month period this year. The signals sent by stingray-type technology penetrate the walls of your home, forcing your phone to connect to it in a sort of digital search and seizure.
When interpreting the Fourth Amendment, courts have always drawn a bright line at the entrance to the home. The other concern about stingrays is that they effectively allow police to conduct searches inside your home.
If police have a search warrant, then it's perfectly legal. Here, the LA County Sheriff's Department does disclose it's using a tracking device. But critics say that's not always the case and wonder if judges know what they're signing off on.
If an agency doesn't explain the technology that's used, the kind of information it collects, a judge's order is essentially meaningless.
The San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department first purchased this type of technology back in 2006, noting that it could be mounted to any vehicle or aircraft. The department upgraded its equipment in 2012, paying nearly $500,000 to the Florida-based Harris Corporation. Harris, in conjunction with the FBI, requires all law enforcement agencies to sign a strict non-disclosure agreement. They can't discuss the technology with anyone outside of law enforcement. This FBI affidavit suggests anyone who does would be violating the Arms Export Control Act and could be sent to prison and fined $1 million.
We don't want the bad guys to know what we can do and how we do it.
Eyewitness News has learned the Orange County Sheriff's Department is currently in negotiations to purchase a stingray-type device. And we should mention that all of the agencies we spoke with emphasize these devices are not being used to eavesdrop on private conversations.
County Sheriff has used stingray over 300 times with no warrant. San Bernardino Sheriff's Department doesn't tell judges it's using spy device. The sheriff in San Bernardino County east of Los Angeles County has deployed a stingray hundreds of times without a warrant, and under questionable judicial authority. In response to a public records request, the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department, SBSD, sent ours, among other outlets, a rare example of a template for a pen register and trap and trace order application. In the letter, county lawyers claimed this was a warrant application template, when it clearly is not. The SBSD is the law enforcement agency for the entire county, the 12th most populous county in the United States, and the 5th most populous in California. Stingrays, or cell site simulators, can be used to determine location by spoofing a cell tower, but they can also be used to intercept calls and text messages. Once deployed, the devices intercept data from a target phone as well as information from other phones within the vicinity. For years, federal and local law enforcement have tried to keep their existence a secret while simultaneously upgrading their capabilities. Over the last year, as the devices have become scrutinized, new information about the secretive devices has been revealed. This template application, surprisingly, cites no legal authority on which to base its activities. The SBSD did not respond to ours request for comment. This is astonishing because it suggests the absence of legal authorization, because if there were clear legal authorization you can bet the government would be citing it, Fred Cate, a law professor at Indiana University, told ours by email. Alternatively, it might suggest that the government just doesn't care about legal authorization. Either interpretation is profoundly troubling, he said. The documents sent to ours by the SBSD's county attorneys also show that since acquiring a Stingray in late 2012, the agency has used it 303 times between January 1, 2014 and May 7, 2015. Further, the SBSD, like other departments nationwide, maintains a questionable non-disclosure agreement, NDA, with the FBI that indicates that the agency will work with local prosecuting authority to dismiss cases rather than reveal information in court about stingrays. This has happened in at least some known jurisdictions elsewhere in the country. Just last week, the FBI released a statement regarding the use of stingrays, which claims the opposite of what its NDA with local law enforcement actually says. The SBSD also declined to produce policies, guidelines, training materials, nor the specific cases where stingrays were used. The FBI and the Harris Corporation, the manufacturer of the device, have repeatedly declined to respond to our specific questions. That old standby, a pen/trap order. Further reading. FBI would rather prosecutors drop cases than disclose stingray details. Detectives typically go to a local judge before they want to deploy the device and file an application for a pen register and trap and trace order. Those orders are often sealed, even well after the case has concluded, so there is usually little public scrutiny. But, as is the case in most jurisdictions nationwide, this application to the court is not very explicit about what law enforcement wants to do, nor how exactly it will be carried out. This is precisely the reason why Washington state just signed into law a new warrant requirement for stingray use, which also imposes stringent disclosure and data minimization standards. A similar bill in California is pending in the state legislature. The template states: Detective name, a detective for the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department. Hereby applies to the court for an order, 1. Authorizing the use of a pen register on the telephone lines currently designated by the numbers, telephone number, the telephone line, 2. Authorizing the use of a trap and trace device on the telephone line, and 3. Requiring the disclosure of subscriber name and address, whether listed or unlisted. For numbers called by the telephone line or numbers calling the telephone line, or found during investigation of this case upon oral or written demand of agents of the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department. In support of this application, he states the following. 1. I am a detective for the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department and am requesting an order authorizing the installation and use of a pen register and a trap and trace device, and the disclosure of subscriber information. 2. I certify that the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department is conducting a criminal investigation of crime in connection with possible violations of crime definition. It is believed that the below-named persons and other unknowns are using the telephone lines in furtherance of the subject offenses and that the information likely to be obtained from the pen register and the trap and trace devices is relevant to the ongoing criminal investigation being conducted by the above-named agency. Affidavit insert probable cause. In the pre-cell phone era, a pen register and trap and trace order allowed law enforcement to obtain someone's calling metadata in near real time from the telephone company. Now, that same data can also be gathered directly by the cops themselves through the use of a stingray. Nathan Wessler, an attorney with the American Civil Liberties Union, told ours that this type of language is very unusual. The template is likely to mislead judges who receive applications based on it because it gives no indication that the sheriff's department intends to use a stingray, he wrote by email. We have seen similarly misleading applications submitted to judges by police departments across the country, he continued. Judges have no hope of ensuring that use of stingrays complies with the Fourth Amendment if they are kept in the dark about law enforcement's intent to use a stingray. When police hide the ball from judges, our justice system cannot ensure justice. Other lawyers concurred on the fact the pen/trap order makes no reference to a stingray or IMSI catcher at all is really troubling because this order reads like any standard pen/trap application which would be given to a cell phone provider. Hani Fakuri, an attorney with the Electronic Frontier Foundation, and a former federal public defender, told ours by email. But of course the scope of information obtained via an IMSI catcher is potentially much greater, Fakuri said. So it suggests that unless the officers are telling the judges in the affidavit or when they're in chambers swearing out the affidavit that they're planning on using a stingray, there's nothing to indicate what exactly law enforcement is planning to do. And of course, we find that highly problematic. Most judges are likely to sign off on a pen register application not fully understanding that police are actually asking for permission to use a stingray. In some cases, cops have even falsely claimed the existence of a confidential informant while in fact deploying this particularly sweeping and invasive surveillance tool. Ours has also contacted Superior Court Judge R. Glenn Yabunno, the supervising criminal judge in the county, but he has yet to respond. Forget federal law. Further reading. California bill requires warrant for stingray use. Under federal law, pen registers are granted under a very low standard. Authorities must simply show that the information obtained from the pen register is relevant to an ongoing criminal investigation. That is a far lower standard than being forced to show probable cause for a search warrant or wiretap order. A wiretap requires law enforcement to not only specifically describe the alleged crimes but also to demonstrate that all other means of investigation had been exhausted or would fail if they were attempted. I am used to seeing citations of various statutory provisions that the government would rely upon for its application. Brian Owsley, a law professor at Indiana Tech, and a former United States magistrate judge in Texas who has worked on numerous stingray cases, told ours. These statutes are cited in the proposed order. It is problematic that if this is indeed an application for a stingray that the application heading indicates that is for a pen register and trap and trace device. I think that it should actually state application for a cell site simulator or something along that lines. California doesn't actually have a specific pen register statute. A statewide pen/trap application template that ours previously obtained from the Oakland Police Department under a public records request cites the federal statute. However, that practice goes against a 2003 opinion from the California Attorney General. The AG concluded that because California affords its citizens more privacy under the state constitution than does federal law, a state law enforcement officer cannot use a federal statute for a pen/trap order. In the sample order that the SBSD provided, only federal law is cited, specifically 18 U.S. Code 2703, d, among others. Curiously, in the SBSD template application, it includes a section for the detective to insert probable cause, which is not required under the federal pen register statute. The fact that order requires probable cause but isn't labeled a warrant is also interesting, Fakuri said. It's definitely good that the sheriff and the court are using the probable cause standard, but a warrant is about more than just probable cause. A warrant also requires particularity and continuing oversight by the judge who has to review the inventory and receipt to make sure only authorized things were taken. So it's like this order does some of the stuff a warrant would do, but not all, he said.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County Cop Watch, and I wanted to explain what fair use is. You can use pieces of news articles if you're doing it for news reporting, you have commentary, and you're doing it for education purposes. So that's what fair use is, as you can see right here. Another reason why I wanted to make this video is to let you know I have just joined with Patreon. A nice thing with Patreon, I make no money on YouTube. They took the money away years ago, and so this is another way to give, and it's a nice thing too because you can give monthly. You can give $1, $5, $10, whatever. I do 4 to 5 hours a day on trying to wake the sheep up on how corrupt it is and different ways that you can fight the corruption. So Patreon is a way that you can do it, and then of course the old way is still there. Donate to Sheriff County Cop Watch with PayPal or credit card. So keep that in mind. 4 to 5 hours a day. I make no money, but the corruption happened to me and I'm sick of it, so I'm trying to wake people up. But my wife would love it if some, if we could get some help out there. There's 47,000 subscribers. Just think if each one of you subscribers just gave a, let's say, actually, yes, $1 a month. 47,000 subscribers gave $1 a month. That would be awesome. That's not going to happen. But anyways, that would be great if it did happen. But, do the math in your head. Just think about it. Like I said, 4 to 5 hours a day. I get no money from YouTube. YouTube has gone nuts. You can't do anything anymore. They're taking the money away everywhere. So these are a couple different ways that you can still help out with all this time that I put in. And as you know, I'm in a special situation where, at least I can do it. 4 to 5 hours a day. We have a cleaning company during the day. That's what allows me to do this, and we're debt free. So this is my hobby. I don't go fishing and all that other crap. I try to save the world. So help me out to make the wife happy, man. In fact, if you guys did give $1 a day, and there was 47,000 of you, and you did it, and each of you gave $1, and that was every month, oh my God, yes, I could quit. I could start suing them. Another idea too that we have is, if I got, some funds, we could actually contact everyone that has been ticketed and or arrested and put in jail and start sending them postcards to let them know we're here and to see if everything went all right, and if it didn't, find out their story. So we could even do more investigations and more lawsuits. Lawsuits take money. So just think about that. 47,000 of you so far right now. $1 a day. $1 a month on Patreon, or $5 a month Patreon, 10, 20, whatever. Just do the math in your head, help out. This is a lot of work every single day. Thanks.